I work at West Neck ICF, which is an intermediate care facility. This is human services. It falls under developmental services. We support individuals with intellectual disabilities and developmental disabilities. I started out through a temp service, and I was a direct care professional, and I later on applied for a city position, which was the behavioral specialist position. And I really wanted something that was going to be meaningful. I knew that the city would provide stability, great benefits, and hopefully some growth to possibly further my career. Majority of the individuals that we support here are in wheelchairs. They depend on us for all of their daily needs, from bathing to eating, being able to transport themselves. What we're striving for is more independence. A person leaving this facility to go and live in their own apartment or do more things for themselves. It really makes a difference to me to know that I was a part of that journey for them. It's very rewarding to see them meeting their own goals and being able to live an independent life. Everyone gets along very well. They support each other, mentor each other. It's almost like a family. Everyone kind of forms a really strong bond. I would always have a passion for the individuals, and I would love to support them in any way possible.
Now, this event is part of a week-long celebration for the national travel and tourism industry. It's an opportunity for us to recognize how important the tourism industry is for Virginia Beach.
It is my distinct pleasure to present the Carlos Wilson Lifetime Achievement Award. This year's honors the lifetime accomplishment of our friend, my friend, Bobby Malati.
Pretty symbolic, actually. It means everything. It means that from the time I started here 42 years ago up until today, I've had the opportunity to invest my life in tourism, in entertainment, in Virginia Beach, and the things that I really love. It's a privilege. It's an honor. It's so cool to be able to work in an industry that you have a hand in creating, and then you get to experience the results and benefit from those results. Good schools, great family. What a place to grow up and live and raise your children.
I've been asked to present the National Travel and Tourism Week Public Service Award. I'm honored to present the second award for today's luncheon. This year's winner is Curtis Weaver of the Virginia Beach Convention and Visitors Bureau.
So I started back in high school working for Ocean Breeze Water Park as in the retail there, and throughout the time I've been in various jobs throughout the tourism industry, and my love has just been growing and growing for this field, especially here in Virginia Beach. Currently, I work for the Visitor Information Center as the supervisor over there, and me alongside with a great team over there helps provide an excellent experience to a bunch of customers and visitors that stop by. The most fun part about the job is telling the city I love. Not only are we excellent at being the most diverse, having beach to town life to various other areas in the city, but we have such amounts of various activities that will keep you entertained for days, and most of them are actually free, so one of the best things about our city.
The next category is attractions, and the winner is Michael Lamau.
Well, it means that I'm able to bring smiling faces for what I do to a multitude of people. They always are changing, different people on the ocean front. So it's a veritable a revolving door, if you will. So we always have new faces, and every new set of faces is hearing our presentation for the first time. So keeping that in mind and then having the same results with smiles, 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 smiles. So I'm glad to be able to do that every night, 6 nights a week actually. Life is really a performance. We're all performers. And I just chose this route to do it to sustain my life. It actually chose me. So I just said yes to the call.
I would like to personally thank you for your dedication and your commitment for for being the best of the best in this very important industry.
The tourism industry is a people's industry, as people serving people, and it really is an opportunity for us during this event and throughout this week to say thank you to the people in the hospitality industry that provide the great hospitality services to our visitors that come to Virginia Beach.
Around midnight on Thursday, April 25th, 2019, while driving home westbound on the Lesnar Bridge, Colin Dozier observed a parked vehicle on the eastbound side of the bridge.
I leaned over the bridge looking up next to him and I said, "What's up, man? How you doing? What's going on?" And he didn't even look at me. He just basically was a dead stare into the water. And at that point I knew there was something seriously wrong.
Colin continued to speak with the man for several more minutes, trying to convince him to change his mind when the police arrived and the man shouted at him, "Leave me alone, or there will be 2 murders tonight."
And at this point, he took his hat off, he threw it in the water, he started taking his shoes off and threw it in the water and stopped. The second he closed his eyes again, I went for it and I locked around his chest and his arms, I locked my hands and I stepped up on the railing and sucked him back and I put him down on the pavement. And at that point, the police officers were able to jump on the roadside, off from the roadside to the pedestrian side and be able to apprehend him and get him the help that he needs.
The strength of Virginia Beach are the people of Virginia Beach, and this is just a sterling example of how one individual, put safety aside, confronted the individual who is was in a crisis, responded in an appropriate way, he restrained, he saved a life. And on behalf of a grateful city, may we present you with this award.
I just love the city and that I love my job, and it shows. Where I moved to Virginia Beach to start my master's at ODU. When I walk through the doors, the first thing we do is have muster. We basically get our positions for the day. They tell us things that happen on the shift prior to us. We go to the floor, plug into our stations, tap into the calls that come in. It's nonstop. We just take calls, dispatch units. Right now we have an academy going on. They have what we call OJT, which is on-the-job training, and one-on-one, and basically listen to them take calls and make sure that they're doing everything properly according to our policy. I love training. It's my favorite part about the job. So in the dispatch center, there are different positions. Police support position actually answers the police line, where police officers call in and ask us to do certain requests that they have. The animal control radio is a position that receives all of the animal control cases that citizens call in, and we dispatch the animal control officers to those particular cases. What I like most about working for the city are the city benefits. They have good pay. The schedule that I get fits me perfectly. I work night shifts. What gets me through the day are the people that I work with. Just the atmosphere, it's exciting. I love it here. Once that application process comes out, apply. You won't regret it. It is definitely a rewarding job to have.
Hello and welcome to VB 411. I'm your host, Ms. Information, the know-it-all in City Hall, here again to bring truth and clarity to misconceptions and rumors. Today's hot topic addresses a homeowner's headache that keeps popping up on Facebook. The question? How can someone tear up a spot on my lawn and just walk away, and without my permission? So let's say you come home to find wooden stakes or those tiny colored flags in the yard, or areas of your grass spray painted orange. Now, eventually, you find out a utility company is dropping cables, or maybe gas lines underground need to be inspected. It all has to do with easements. And I've brought in an expert this week to help us all understand what's going on. Here with the easement answers is Becky Kubin, Deputy City Attorney for the City of Virginia Beach. Becky, welcome, and thank you so much for coming.
Thanks for having me.
So now, in general, what is an easement, and what does it mean if there's one in front of my house?
An easement is nothing more than the right of a person or company to use the land of someone else's for a particular purpose.
Okay, and could you maybe give us a couple of examples of that?
Sure. So a utility company might have power lines out there or telephone cables above ground on a pole or below ground, or there might be a drainage ditch that has to be cleaned out, something like that.
Okay. And are there any rules for doing that sort of work? For example, does a property owner have to be notified?
Every easement is different, but generally there is no requirement that you notify the property owner ahead of time if you're coming out to use your easement. So They can just show up, but often they will give a courtesy notification in advance that they're going to be doing work in the neighborhood.
Okay. And let's say that a company comes in, does their work, but they leave a mess behind. So what can a resident do when they come home and find out that their property's in disarray?
The easement area should be left in a satisfactory and safe condition when the company is done with it. If that doesn't happen, then they should call the company. But they are not required to leave it in exactly the same condition as it was. The company would have rights to adjust the land as they need to for whatever the work is that they're doing.
Okay, terrific. Now, what about utility boxes and other visible installations that may be left behind? Who exactly is responsible for their upkeep?
The facilities like the boxes and the power lines, all of those belong to the company, and the company is required for their upkeep, and the landowner should not interfere with those. It could be dangerous to do so. But the area itself, the day-to-day maintenance is the responsibility of the property owner to keep it clear of trash and weeds, etc.
How could somebody find out if there was an easement on their property and where they are?
The easiest way is if you have a survey. If you had a survey done when you bought your property, it would show the easements. If it's been a while since you bought your property, you might want to have a new survey done.
Okay, and I think this is my last question. I have heard about Miss Utility. So she might have something to do with all those marker flags that show up. So can you tell me a little bit about her, but more importantly, do I have to worry about any competition?
Well, you both are in the same information business, but Miss Utility is just a service in Virginia that is very important. If a property owner is going to be digging in their yard, they do not want to cut the underground utilities because it can both be dangerous and expensive to do so. So if you call Miss Utility, which in Virginia it's 811, they will send someone out to mark the property, and that would be the flags and the spray paint that you would see on the ground that would show what's underneath the ground.
Amazing. All right. Well, Becky, thank you so much. And I personally would like to thank you for easing the mind of our residents with all these great answers.
Happy to be here.
Now, a question we sometimes hear from our residents is, what should I do when a panhandler asks for money? Well, first, just to be clear, panhandling is not a crime in Virginia Beach. However, there are city codes that prohibit pedestrians from standing in the roadway or on medians. These rules are there as a matter of public safety to keep pedestrians out of the roadways and away from potential harm. If police witness someone in a median or otherwise in the road, they will take action. If you're inclined to help someone you believe is homeless but don't feel comfortable giving directly to an individual, there are many other opportunities for helping those in need. Donating to a reputable nonprofit can give you peace of mind your gift is going to a good cause. For example, donations to VB Home Now, a new foundation that supports programs at the Housing Resource Center and in the community, go directly to helping people obtain housing by assisting with things like rental security deposits or application fees. You can also consider organizing a donation drive or volunteering with an organization that serves the homeless. And you can help spread the word. If you know someone experiencing homelessness or a housing crisis, have them call the Regional Housing Crisis Hotline at 757-227-5932. For more ideas on how you can help, please visit www.vbgov.com/give-to-homeless. And now you're in the know. Thanks for joining us today. And is there a burning question you'd like to have us answer? Well, send an email to misinfo@vbgov.com and we'll get right on it. See you next time.
My integrity, my character.
We're here today for the graduating class of 66 Academy. This has probably become one of the best classes I've ever taught.
I decided to become a police officer because we live in a time where police officers aren't viewed in the best of light, and I feel like I could have a positive impact and change on that.
I had a great role model growing up. My father was a police officer, and I wanted to follow in his footsteps and make him proud.
My cousin and I had aspirations of becoming police officers, and it does line up with my values and the way I was raised.
This is a very attractive department. We have standards above and beyond what are just required from DCJS and other academies.
I fell in love with the city, So that was the #1 reason why I chose Virginia Beach, plus the police department had a fantastic reputation.
There's lots of resources here, especially for the police academy. It's some of the best training I've ever received.
Training is probably the most challenging thing I've ever done, and I've done a lot.
The physical aspect of the training was the most difficult, but with the help of my classmates, I was able to continue to excel from day one.
Definitely ready for something new. I'm ready to start real police work and start making a difference in my community.
I cannot wait to walk across the stage tomorrow.
I'm looking forward to getting out there and being a responsible person that will uphold the public trust. Get out there and apply the skills that we're taught.
Ultrasounds, everything came up completely normal. I delivered him, and you're expecting within a couple of minutes for him to be handed over to you after they clean him up. He wasn't. I had a nurse come in and say, your child is sick, and she said, within the hours, he's being transported to CHKD so we can find out more. Your whole world stops. The nurse came in later on, she goes, we got word from CHKD that your son has transposition of the great arteries. They called his heart Swiss cheese heart. And it's a term that will always stick in my head because he had so many holes in his heart. He had eight holes in his heart.
Zach is a young man who is living with what's called a congenital heart defect, CHD. His heart didn't form properly, and congenital heart defects can have a really broad range, from some that are super critical, like Zach's, that will require surgery within the first few days after they're born, all the way down to stuff that is really, really small, small holes in the heart that people may not even know that they have.
My fear was that he was going to go into surgery and I'd never see him again. And I wanted him to at least know, as a parent, that we are here for him. He has somebody fighting for him. We learned very early on that a lot of people aren't very informed of it. We are getting these children into teenage years, adult years. We need to know how to handle them. If they're in an accident, our EMTs and paramedics and all personnel need to know what to look for.
One of the first things to be aware of with congenital heart defect patients is that you're going to find them everywhere. There's a lot of things that they do that are very normal, but there are a few things to understand that they are absolutely not normal, regardless of what the congenital heart defect is. It is not normal for a patient with congenital heart defect to have chest pain. That's never normal. It's never normal for them to pass out. It's never normal for them to be really, really short of breath, particularly if there's no reason for them to be really short of breath. Those are patients that something's going on, and we really need to be diligent about making sure that we get them to help as quickly as possible. Some of the signs of CHD vary, and it depends a lot upon exactly what type of congenital heart defect the patient has. A relatively minor heart defect, the only thing the patient may know is that they were told that they had a heart murmur. But it could range all the way up to a baby who is very pale, is blue, particularly around the face and lips, that has trouble breathing, that is got a pounding heart. If we know that the child has a congenital heart defect and we're called to help, then we need to be asking mom and dad, what's the best plan? What have you tried? What have you already done? Because they are going to do everything that they know to do first. So you need to be working with the family and the caregivers to figure out what's going to be the best plan of action for that patient. Those folks are here, they're in our population. We need to be aware of best practices for helping those patients when something goes wrong.
My goal is to save one life, but at the same time, helping a responder, whether it be a police officer coming onto a scene, whether it be a fire personnel, whether it be a paramedic, to have someone come on scene and go, I've seen that before, I know what that is, I know what to do. So by them just helping themselves know it, is helping these guys.
Welcome to MOCA, the Virginia Museum of Contemporary Art, and I'm really excited that our venue And our museum is able to welcome and host such a fabulous community celebration.
Today is a free and open community event that we planned along with Office of Cultural Affairs and the African American Cultural Center to really celebrate the project by Rich Holland, Portraits from a Place of Grace. Richard Holland went into Black historic communities throughout the city and worked with all of those community members to tell their stories through photography and also oral history.
To be a part of this project was unique because now, finally, we get to tell our story.
We talked about different things. We talked about our community, how long we live there, and different things, our jobs, what we contribute to the community.
I remember sharing the fact of being a young girl and having my first best friends, first grade, riding bicycles and going to the corner store and just being safe. You were just part of the community. It was truly a melting pot. Children from future generations will have a chance to see what it was like for us.
I am really proud to have been able to help these folks leave their stories behind. I am deeply humbled by the amount of trust that they put in this entire crazy process that they were shuffled through to open up and to share some of their real intimacies.
We have a diverse city, diverse community, and when we get together and learn about each other culturally, it makes a much better place to live in.
This is our time to tell our history.
Today we're having our annual Water Awareness Calendar Contest ceremony. Each year we try to educate our citizens of all ages about how to use water more wisely, and this is a great way to involve the elementary school age kids in our community. They submit artwork, original illustrations depicting how they conserve water, how they prevent backflow, and how they keep our drainage pipes clean of fats, oil, and grease. And we pick 13 winners and a few honorable mentions as well.
My mom always talks about saving water, so I'm like, okay, maybe I should go ahead and tell other people to save water because, you know, it's good.
It's important for our kids to learn to conserve water early because it'll help protect our water sources in the future.
It's cool that people get to see my artwork, and maybe the next year's contest people might get inspired by mine.
We're really proud of our winners and honorable mentions. The calendars should be available around November of this year, and they'll be available for free to any Virginia Beach resident.
Ladies and gentlemen. What he went through and his experiences with our students, but also to inspire them to not give up on their music, their talents, the things that they love. Incredible.
So the garden benefits the children in promoting kindness and joy, and especially community by bringing in service to give back as something in the Water Festival promoted. So we really wanted to promote empathy for others, nurturing living things. When we were back showing Pharrell the sculpture and all those good things, Pharrell said to the boys, he was so impressed with them, with all the courage that they have to give back to the community.
Because it shows us that a community can come together to make something great and beautiful, just like this. It's just heartwarming because it's for the school, but it's also for the community. What they did, they made it for everyone, so that everyone can come together as a community to grow in a way.
Pharrell and his company, the way they organized that with our transportation department and VB schools, we were so well taken care of, there was no worries. No, it was definitely a huge success.
Our professional bus drivers can't be beat. You know, we've had other events and things, maybe not of this caliber and this large, but they have never done anything that they have not been 100% successful in implementing. It's just a great group of professional bus drivers, safe, concerned, and it's just a great event for them and for us.
I really appreciated that our transportation staff, our admin on down was at our locations. We had, you know, our administration out there. Our supervisors, our dispatchers were in the office, our mechanics were on call right there at our sites for anything we needed. So it was just organized from driving to being taken care of. We were never alone.
Our bus drivers did a great job. No one reported any incidents of any kind. We had no damages to the bus. They even left the buses clean. So I think moving forward, if we have more of these, the sky's the limit.
You know, I do things to try to encourage and help. And what I done that day was just something saying that I want our city to be known as a loving city. The mayor just called it the Yes City. Yes, we can do anything we desire to do. We at least can try. So my thing is, let's try to make our city great. Not only, and when it trickles all the way down, from the city down to the school division, from the school division to the city, let's make Virginia Beach one of the greatest cities it can be, and it is. Pharrell had a vision. For this vision that this young man brought forth for our city, oh my God, it's immaculate.